Hi, I'm Mario Guerra, the two-time former mayor of the great city of Downey, and I'm here with my co-host on there, council member Horacio Ortiz. You're listening to Talking Downey with Mario
and Horacio.
Hey, man, what's happening?
How's it been? It's been a long time.
Good, yeah. Are you awake?
I am hanging in there.
Yeah.
It was a long meeting. It was a 5-hour meeting. And I had to wake up early. I had to help my friend out, and here I am.
Yeah.
You know.
So fill everybody else on there. So today's the recap what we do of the council meeting that happened last night. Council meeting started 6:30?
6:30.
6:30, and
we had closed session. Normally starts at 5:30, but there was nothing to discuss.
Yeah, because you had a long meeting coming up on there. And I was listening to. I came home from my grandson's little league game, and I was listening to the tail end, and then I started watching it, and that was 11:48. I think is when it officially ended.
Yeah.
So you're talking a good 5 hours of a lot of different things going on. Well, actually, only 3 main things, but. So tell us a little bit. What are your thoughts about last night?
It was my first experience of a long meeting. Even as planning commission, I think the meeting didn't last so long. We had 3 major projects.
We had a big one a couple of weeks ago. You're no longer planning. We had 75 speakers on the same thing.
I think we had at least for the townhomes, we had 45 speakers or 47 speakers. Yeah. And then on top of that, we had other public comment. So. One of the first major conversations we had was about the 33 townhomes that's going to be placed in Dorothy's district by the island.
No, it's being placed in the city of Downey.
City of Downey, yes.
Yeah. See, you guys are the most ones that ever say district this and district that. We never say that. I don't care where it is. It's in the city of Downey.
Yes.
City of Downey. Yeah. That's my pet peeve. That's Alex Saab's pet peeve. And a couple of us former mayors were like, gosh, they talk about their district a lot. Anyway, sorry about that.
So we that was something we discussed last night. It passed. Me and Dorothy voted no, and Mario, Claudia, and Hector voted yes on the project.
Yeah. So
what happened?
Yeah. Well, yeah, because go ahead.
Going in, I had. I was very convinced on the project. It was a beautiful project. I actually I appreciate the project they did right behind the Lux Cinema, which is the Village. The Village, which is a beautiful project. Personally, we got a lot of feedback from residents, and going in, I also allowed myself to go in with an open mind, listening to the residents, and also in hearing my council colleagues' comments. There was just a couple things that I couldn't see myself voting for this project. I ran on my campaign saying I want to help improve, find parking solutions, mediate the traffic, and hearing what my council colleague said, I noticed that she represents that district, and we're all here to represent all our districts. You're correct on that. But at the same time, I know she did. I'm trusting on her what she did when speaking on to the residents. So I leaned on her.
I was disappointed in her because she brought up that the city should build this in another place where we have the stock, the stock land. We don't have any stock land. This is what it is. So, and the biggest thing of all this was, there's 730 pages in the reports that you guys got, because we got the same report, is what's going to be built there if this didn't pass. If one vote last night, and we'd have 71 low-income affordable housing apartments that would be really, really bad for the neighborhood. So sometimes, I know it was controversial, but sometimes leaders lead, and you just got to make the right thing, knowing that that's the right thing. To turn it down and not have an option, which it came up last night in the hearing, that the seller's looking to possibly get out of the Olsen Home thing because they can get more money from a nonprofit, because they're a church, from a nonprofit that comes in strictly to build affordable housing under SB4. That's the scary part. That's the part that, she needed to be the grown-up in the room and take it on the side to knowing what's right for her residents versus they just don't want anything there, which... Of course, they leave it the way it is, but it's not going to happen. The people want out. It's $3.5 million on the property on there. So I was so disappointed. I'm like, oh my God, I know it's a tough decision. I got booed last week for being the swing one on there. And it's ironic because every one of the commissioners and the city council people voted differently on there, except me. Except me and Mayor Pro Tem Sosa on there. Your commissioner is Hector Lujan, and he thought it was a great project and so forth.
Carrie Uva.
Carrie Uva is Claudia Fermetas, and she voted against it. She said everything, all the right things, a great project, and then voted no at the end, which kind of surprised everybody. Luis Morales, which is a economic development and a planner, and he says, oh, it could have been better, but yet it was a nice project, but he didn't say why on there, but he voted against it, and that's Mayor Trujillo voted for it. And then you had George Cycli, which is Dorothy's planning commissioner, who voted for it. He says, yeah, there's going to be a little bit more traffic on there, but these people should have a right to live in the whole. These are $750,000 condos. To me, I looked at it as like at the beginning of my neighborhood, I'd love to have 33 families that could afford $750,000, right? Because they got to have a couple of jobs. It's, it's their nice apartment. Everybody say, oh, affordable housing. This is not affordable housing. It's like, not affordable. If you can afford a $750,000.
There's only going to be 3 of those homes that are going to be affordable.
I think it's like 300.
350 to 400.
Yeah. So with a developer that had experience in there, anyway, it is what it is, and I'm glad it passed but I'll tell you, I mean, part of you is so relieved that, because we would have been talking 5 years from now, and like I told you so, look at all the traffic issues with 71 apartments, low income, and the pride of ownership on houses. So I was disappointed, but, I love you and Dorothy and so forth. I just thought, especially Dorothy, she was scared. I think it's an election year. There was people, thing. And then the person that's running for it, and I think that's another one that he's talking, Luis Morales, the planning commissioner. Oh my God, he's a planning guy. I mean, he's the economic development for another city. And he, of all people, knows. And then the one thing he never once brought up, this is what should be differently. He just said no. So that's a calculation. And then there was a guy, that Ernesto Valley guy, right?
Yes.
He comes up later on, because I listened and go, I'm pissed. I took a beating today. What the hell? You took a beating today because it passed? You don't even live on the island. Just a typical thing. Him and this guy, Carlos Gomez, so here's the elephant in the room. They were shopping out a story that I couldn't vote because I'm a customer of Olsen Homes and stuff. And I told the story. I was on record. I told it at the Planning Commission. I read my little notes. My daughter, bought that on there. Yes, I helped her with the loans on it. Sold it a year later in 2018 for $590,000. Bought it for $538. Sold it for $590. Today it's worth $740 something. I wish I would have kept it on there. So they brought it in. This guy, Brian Hughes, this Los Cerritos News, the kind of a sketchy paper and stuff like that. He got it all wrong, and he puts on there was a conflict. And then he actually put that I should have voted from me being in Kansas. Not Kansas, Fort Campbell. I should have voted. I should have called in from that. And then when I told him you can't do that in a public hearing, oh, yes, you can. Governor Newsom, in the COVID thing. Like, I don't know where you're getting your info, but we can't do that, okay? We can't call in from a public hearing and stuff because you don't have no facts on there. So they wrote a nasty story that those guys were shopping. And, and he called me a liar last night on there. So anyways, so I took a lot of beating for what I'm doing with the right thing. You guys are going to take a little bit beating for that on there. But, hey, you did what you had to do. And, I still love you, man. It's just, like, what the hell were you thinking,
What happened?
Yeah.
No, and you know what? It's one of those things that you learn, and you also want to hear how you can better yourself. And then, honestly, I'm okay with how I voted. Yeah. And,
because it passed. If you didn't pass on there, you'd be regretting it like, holy shit, what the hell did I do?
Yeah.
I voted for apartments. I voted to empty land. I took away property owners' rights. That guy's got a right. Anyway, so sorry.
No, that's okay.
You got lucky that it passed. I got lucky that it passed from a Downey resident thinking, thank God we don't have affordable apartments there. So, and I think, and watch, we'll be talking 5 years from now and like, oh my God. What a great
We'll have a cigar and we'll say, we see that.
Yeah. We'll walk by there because I ride my bike there. I've been there every weekend for the last 5 months on there. I ride my bike there. So.
I did drive. I went 2 times. I went one in the morning and one in the evening.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to see, take myself in, take it all in. And this is.
In that one street, it's all red sidewalks, so you can't even park on the street in front of the condos. So when they're saying parking problem, I'm like, where are they going to park? They're going to walk 3 blocks away to park there. And it's a HOA. It's a self-enclosed, closed community. it's like parking. I don't know. I didn't get it. I didn't get the answers, and I thought some of the things and the people were saying. So you just kind of look through it. I'd rather have that there. And the people right next to it, we're all in favor of it. So the people right next to that were really in favor of it. So anyways, okay. So let's move on. It passed. Good for the city, good for Treasure Island, good for the community on there. So so protesters.
Yes.
They started at Porto's. I happened to be outside, and they marched there with big signs to boycott McDonald's.
I think they lasted longer than the 33 townhomes projects protesting in City Hall. It was just insane. I don't understand why they keep going if they know that it's not going to pass. It's not going to do anything. So,
well, there's nothing for you to do.
It's nothing. So I guess they just want to really push like they did to other cities. But I don't think they should expect anything to pass during this time.
Well, so I'm in the corner, and Joey Martinez, that Gadfly guy, that he was there. I think he got kicked out, and he's got a camera here, okay, and he's with a bullhorn. Mario Guerra, do you think we should stop the bombing? And I'm like, absolutely, we should. On there, please protest. Hamas, release the hostages, so we can then look for peace and so forth. Well, is that your official position? What do you think about stopping the bombing on there? Of course, we all want the bombing to stop. Just please protest to Hamas. Ask Hamas to release the hostages because there are 60 some odd families. They're missing their loved one. You could do something about it. He didn't like my answer, right? And he's recording me. So is that your official position? I go, yes. Hamas, please release. And I'm looking right there. Please release the hostages so we can all have peace. And they could stop them out. So that to me is kind of the answer. I don't want to be slippant about it because if, there's real people dying. But I think it starts with that. They're ignoring the Hamas factor. Please, Hamas is the one that started and continuing this. I don't have to agree with any strategy or anything else. I don't want anybody to get killed, period. I don't care what nationality you are and so forth. But they don't get that. So they were in front of Porto's, and then they want us to boycott all these companies. And again, that's like McDonald's and Intel and Airbnb and all the gas stations. Anybody that's got anything to do with Israel. I'm not going to stop going to McDonald's to stop the war in Gaza. I'm not quite sure. Anyways, I think it's just kind of like what the protests were and stuff. So.
It was a long meeting, and a couple of people got kicked out. Honestly,
I thought it was 9.
I honestly don't.
Be nice, a couple of people.
I just don't think that. I spoke to Joey, and I told him this is nothing. I can't do anything. Yeah. This is something out of my purview. I don't know anything about international relationships or what's going on outside. I'm here just to do what I was elected to do, which is improve the quality of life of my residents. And here you are trying to make sure that I probably try to change the trajectory of the war. It's not going to happen. So I don't get what.
Some of the people were very respectful, and a couple of teachers in there. So I get it from their passion. We can't see what they look like, but we heard it. I heard it on there. But some of them were just bad, and they're calling you guys names. And you're complicit in baby killing and this and that. And it's like, come on, man, be a grown up. And one guy,
worse, they're getting clickers, and they're having like the signs, the flags, and I thought you're not supposed to bring these things.
You're not. So one guy said, and I wrote it down because I couldn't believe it. He says that he's ashamed of our American flag because of what we did in Vietnam and Laos and so forth. He goes, and he's proud to be ashamed of it. And then he goes that the Holocaust could have been prevented by the United States. I listened to this, and it's like, okay, you're somebody we should take seriously. I'm sorry, it's silly. So you're ashamed of the American flag. We're not perfect, but we're this 250-year experiment that's, the best that's ever history of mankind. That's working. It's not perfect, but I'm not ashamed of it. And anyway, he loses credibility when he says that.
When you start saying that, like, then get out. I don't know if I can be honest.
Well, you can. It's like that's what we're talking about on there. So anyway, good old city of Downey, folks. It was a doozy last night, 5 hours long. Okay, and lastly, and I kind of knew how I was going to go on there. Mayor Pro Tem Sosa brought up about the neutral flag policy. So give me your thoughts.
You know what? I made pretty clear that I respect the reasoning why they brought this policy, or they want to kind of change the policy that we have, and I don't want to discredit them. I understand 100%. I just it's been in place already for 3 years. The city attorney told us that only 8 cities in LA County have a neutral flag policy. No city has been sued. Speaking in legal terms, like there's nothing putting us in any specific danger.
Been sued by having it or not having it?
Not with having the pride flag up.
Okay.
I just said, you know what? I think we're making a bigger statement by dropping or removing that flag. Now that's in place by a previous administration. Than making a decision of putting it up or not at the previous time. So I just think when I voted, I was like, you know what, this is not something. This is kind of like a lose-lose situation. You know, you have different ideological perspectives, and that's something I didn't want to come in council to do. I want to make sure that I can really do the good work for my community. So it was just one of those, intense votes where you just decide where your heart is at.
Yeah. Well, I kind of thought. I mean. I understand. I was surprised that Supervisor Hahn and Assemblywoman Blanca Pacheco sent their reps to read a statement on there. I thought that was kind of interesting on there to get involved in the local things from that. So I heard you guys. I pretty much thought it'd go this way. It was a 3-2 vote for everybody. Dorothy, Hector, and Claudia voted for it, and Mayor Trujillo and Horacio voted against it. Mayor Trujillo was actually kind of eloquent in what he said too, and how he said it. And I get it. And I mean, you both are gay, and it came up again last night, and that's okay too. So I understand that you were taking a higher road than that, than it's my flag kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I think Mario did too, to the most part on that. So, it happened at 3-2. I think down the road, there'll be another council that gets it. I think this passed when, Catherine Alvarez was in there, and
Who was it? It was Catherine
and Sean Aston, yeah, and Mario, yeah. And Sean resigned a week later.
Yeah.
So hey, by the way, so that came up last night too about our sister cities, right? All these people, right, and Mario asked the city manager, obviously they had done their homework before, but Downey has an amazing sister city organization, or it did. Okay, we were the first sister cities in the history of the United States with Guadalajara, Mexico. I flew to Ireland to sign sister cities with Roscommon, Ireland. There's the decree up there. We're sister cities with Roscommon, Ireland, which is the birthplace of John Gately Downey. But that got council approval. I mean, those were on there. So then they brought up, when then Sean Ashton was on the council, him and his wife brought it up, and they wanted to make the city in Israel. Well, it came up to the council, and the council said, no, we're not going to do that. We got to take care of our sister cities here. So they went rogue. They just said, okay, and they wrote a letter on city letterhead, which had no authority on there, that, we're sister cities, and they said they're sister cities, but they're not. And that's kind of when the city says, well, if you're not going to follow the rules, and be your thing, but we're not part of the city. So that's how that happened, by the way. That was Sean Aston just kind of wrote a letter on city letterhead saying, okay, we're making it. He ignored legal. He ignored city manager. He ignored his council colleagues. So if you want to go rogue in the future, that's all you have to do is write a letter and just steal the letterhead.
Just go to the printer and just get it out.
Yeah, there's all these things underneath it. So now it came up. Everybody's saying we're sister cities. That's because somebody bragged about it, but we're not. No, never on anything in the city of Downey. So now you know the rest of the story, So, yeah. Anyways, so what happens next? Nothing happens next on the flag. Nothing happens next on the protest.
That's what I wanted to ask you. Is it immediate action? Are we going to take 30 days after this? And Hector asked, that's why before we take the vote, I wanted just clarification.
Yeah.
Is it immediate? 30 days? Where you want us? We give staff direction on it. So it was immediate. And again, at least for me personally, there's no hard feelings. I understand their point of view, and I respect it. And that's what, I mean, that's democracy. That's we're here. We're going to agree to disagree on a lot of things.
I was against it 3 years ago when it first came up. only from the standpoint, I'm not anti-gay in any stretch, man. You know that, and my friends know that. I just thought it opened up the can of worms to other flags being raised up there. Again, right now, what if we wanted to do an Israeli flag, and what if we wanted to do in support? So that was the only thing, although I understand the purpose of it. And last night, I didn't know that until one lady said what the color stood for. I'd never taken the time to know that.
I never understood why it's changing. Even I don't even know.
Yeah, each color has a point on there. Look it up. I thought that was interesting. I never thought. I just thought that it was cute.
Yeah.
The rainbow and stuff. My grandson, my grandson loves the rainbow stuff, and he has everything rainbow. He's 8 years old, so I don't think he's gay. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but everything he has is rainbow. Yeah. So I just kind of like, oh, okay, good for P. So.
But after that, there's nothing. See how? I mean, I'm happy for the people the developers that are going to do it. Hopefully, do it right. Hopefully, they learn. At least in my own perspective, I really hope they do better outreach. I think I got a lot of feedback from people who were really involved in this project that they could have done at least a better job in outreach. And I know that they're going to continue working with our city. So I hope that this can be something like a lesson learned, right, where it will be an easy vote for everybody. Yeah. Residents will be. I think they just wanted to be heard at least a little better.
Well, I'll tell you, I take exception a little bit on that because they had 400 or 500 people sign letters, and a lot of them that live on the island in support of it. I heard from people that came to the meeting and told me afterward, he goes, hey, I'm actually in favor of this, but my neighbors, they were pretty adamant that they wanted me to be here and I didn't want to disturb them. So that's one of the reasons they also went door to door, because if you put everybody in a group and you're loud and the rest of them aren't, you carry the day. Yeah. Group setting, just like last night happened. It's a group setting versus talking to you. Let me tell you what this is. And you're like, oh, I get that. So then they got people to sign those letters. So the petitions from the island, there was supposed to be 500 and some odd people on there. There's only 300 people on the island. So Irma, the planning director, so her and I went through a couple of pages and we said, okay, let's just look at this page. And the majority of them didn't live on the island because you could tell by the address. And this page, down there. So the fact that they said they had 500 people, it's the same argument that against the Olsen thing, that you had all these people for that weren't real. Well, they were real. And a lot of them were there. So I don't know, man. They've been out there. They had a person knocking door to door 3 times. So in the last 6 months, for 6 months. And then they got chastised for that. Oh, they're trying to convince us. They're trying to give information. And then last night they got criticized for not doing enough. It's like, we've been knocking on the door 3 times, So anyway, I get the people that are going to be upset are always going to be upset. Yeah. They don't want change. And I get it. But at the planning commission, we have several people saying, man, this is a really great project, just not in my neighborhood. So the NIMBY thing, we had at least 4 people that said that. Oh, no, I've looked at this. This is a good project, just not here. Same thing Dorothy said. Oh, it's a good project, just not here. It's like, anyway. So I'm sorry. This is the biggest no-brainer the city council's ever going to have. And it got fumbled a little bit, but it passed. So that's the good part. Yeah, this is a no-brainer. This is good for the city. Oh, so one thing is that tonight we got a planning commission meeting.
Oh, that's right. It was weird how there's a planning commission.
Yeah, the next day. So I want them to change the minutes. So because all they do on the minutes now is just the action. Okay, Commissioner Guerra voted yes. So we're supposed to approve the minutes from the April 6th meeting. The April 6th meeting, I'm telling you, it's in your district. It's going to change the face of Downey forever. The Planning Commission voted to have 700,000 trucks coming into that area a year. It's got 119 bays, 500,000 square foot. It's going to be legit. Proglosas, I can't remember the name of that. They own it. And so we are allowed that. And it's going to be distribution and the whole thing. In the comments, and I went back and looked at it yesterday, right? At the 2-hour and 31-minute break, I said, this is not what I would want in my city. Okay, I don't want distribution and logistics on there. This is going to add 700,000 new cars. This is going to change the face of Downey forever. Our residents are going to be so upset when this comes up and they realize what just happened. on there. But this is a good company. They're doing all the right things. You guys have been working on it for 2 years with the staff, and staff are recommending it. But you better let the neighborhoods know, and this is not a good thing there, okay? But I don't want to be Riverside. I don't want to be the Inland Empire. I'm going to vote on it just to go on. So I said all this.
And they just put yes.
The minutes to say, Commissioner Guerra voted yes. So I want that on the record, because 10 years from now, you're going to be around. 10 years from now, on there, when people are like, oh my God, we can't breathe.
What happened? Yeah.
And I even brought up that part, and the guy from the company, he says, oh yeah, but according to Governor Newsom, there's not going to be cars by 2030 anyways with gasoline-powered cars. I'm like, really? That's what you're gambling on? And stuff. And that's right next to residences. So I'm glad that didn't go to the council, because anyway, so tonight I'm bringing that up, that we changed the minutes, because I wanted to go on record. I want to go on record on things. I went on record on the Olsen homes. Why? And I gave all the answers why I voted that way. So at least good, bad, or indifferent, I'm on the record for what I did. So anyways, okay. So I didn't mean to beat you up today.
He said a good, bad, or
So,
indifferent.
you
You go on record on what you voted on.
Yeah. So anything else going on? I know that you guys got a busy weekend coming up.
I know. I was planning on going on Indian Wells for Contract Cities, but unfortunately, due to some conflicts with work and then city stuff that I have to do, I decided to stay back. We're going to be well represented over there with Mario, Claudia, and Dorothy. Yeah. Me actually going to stay back, and we would represent some events that we have here, so we can conquer.
It popped up a couple of days ago. The contract. I used to be the government affairs director for a chairman for Contract Cities, and it was a dinner with Roger Brosmer and Don Canabi, and I got to give a shout out to my dear friend, a great lady, Jennifer Perez, councilwoman from Norwalk. She's going to be installed as the new president, and her father's Bob Arthur, Cerritos College, and also former mayor of Norwalk. So they're great people. He's one of our smoking buddies at the mayor's corner. Too. But Jennifer, I hope I'll send you this on there. Congratulations. You're going to be great, and Contract Cities is blessed to have you. So I am riding in the Torrance Military Parade.
Oh, that's right.
It's the largest military parade in the country. It's the longest one on there. It's pretty big. It's pretty awesome. Flyovers, all kinds of military equipment. Next year, we're more the host, the Army, on our 250th anniversary. But this year I'm riding, and I'm riding on this tank thing, and it's kind of cool. But I got a call yesterday. The Torrance police is warning some of us about the protesters disrupting this parade.
Protesters for
Gaza.
Oh my God.
For Gaza.
On
there, yeah. And I think it's just going to be like, I thank you. I mean, so they're going to have police officers protecting me because I'll be a target kind of thing. But I'm with our Army battalion and company. I'm good.
Yeah, you're safe there.
I'll take them over anybody else. Thank you. I appreciate it. So anyways, but I'm riding in that, and it's going to be kind of fun.
Well,
that's
fun.
fun out there. Yeah, no kidding. So
we'll have the 4th of July parade here. So
there you go. Oh, you know what? I got to ask Mayor Trujillo, our Army birthday's on the 14th. I think there's a council meeting on the 13th. Maybe he can do the cutting of the cake. We traditionally do the cutting of the cake, and I can swear in the soldier there. Oh,
that'd be great.
Yeah. So it's coming up on there. God, remind me. Army birthday. Okay, Trujillo. Okay. All right. So this will air this Friday. So right before that, this is the recap. Folks, feel free to call us, to contact us. Let us know your thoughts or comments. My cell is 562-706-4114. You have our email address, and contact Councilmember Horacio Ortiz. He's very accessible to everybody. He's really good at returning calls and everything else. I'm proud to call him a friend, regardless of how he votes. Well, because they're doing it with the passion in the heart. As long as I'm being accused of doing mine illegally or something because of, my daughter bought a condo for them 6 years ago. I'm a customer of Olsen. So, all that money I made, right? Anyways, but we welcome your comments and your thoughts. So thanks for watching. Thanks for listening to Talking Downey with Mario
and Horacio.